Hello, my little yarnivores and spiderettes, Fiber Spider back again with another tutorial just for you. Now today, this is actually a little something, well, something similar, a little something different, depends on how you look at it. Now, I was approached by one of my viewers by the name of, let me see here, Renata Quattro, and she approached me on Facebook Messenger and said, I've been working on a pattern. Would you be interested in doing it? I said, sure. Let me take a look. Gave it a try. Loved it. And here it is. And with a little bit of collaborative effort, we came up with a name, the Lakeside Shawl. And this is gorgeous. Absolutely love, love, love how it came out. And I'm going to scooch it on down so you can see these color changes. Gotta love it. And complete with a really cute edging for the top neckline. Now, because this piece is worked from the bottom up, if you're using a color change yarn, it's going to create stripes, as you can see, as opposed to some where it starts in the top center and then it creates stripes in sort of a V shape. So that is something to be aware of if you're using a color change yarn. Absolutely love how this works up. It's very simple. It's got an easy, excusez-moi. It's got an easy repeat to it. Now this yarn that I used is a worsted weight yarn. So I used, where is my hook? I can't find my hook. Where is my hook? Okay, can't find my hook, but it was a size I crochet hook. Which is a 5.5 millimeter hook, and the yarn is Caron Big Cakes. You know I love the Caron cakes, and this is a skein that I had left over, and this is the colorway Cherry Compote. Absolutely gorgeous. And now for this piece, I wouldn't say that I'm quite finished with it yet. And now out of the initial skein that I was using, I've got this little bit left over here and this ball here left over from one skein. Now stretched out at the top edge, it does go fingertip to fingertip already, but I think I'm going to make it a bit bigger because it's just so gorgeous. And I cannot wait to show it with you guys. So I'm going to get started and let's get into it. All right. Alrighty, so I'm going to be using for this example just, a glorified swatch. I'm using Caron Cakes yet again. This one is Cookies and Cream, and as always, new. I am not sponsored. However, I do like to share with you what it is that I'm using, so if you want to do the same thing yourself, you can. So, as I said before, I am using my I crochet hook, 5.5 millimeter, because this is a worsted weight yarn, and we're going to get right into it with row 1. All right, so to begin with, we are going to, and by the way, am I the only one that hates when the tail is all crinkled and sprinkled until you get to like the middle of the skein where it's like, okay, now we're working with gas. Now we're cooking with gas. All right, so we're starting with a slip knot, of course. And we're going to start with a chain of 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then do a slip knot into the first chain to create a ring, like so. And this is going to be the very tippy tip bottom of our piece here. Now into the ring, we're going to start by chaining up 3, chain up 3, and do a double crochet into the ring. So we have, technically speaking, 2 double crochets. All right, then chain 2, and 2 more double crochets. Like so. So we've got 2 doubles, chain 2, 2 doubles. All right. And chain 2, 2 more doubles, like so, chain 2, and 2 more doubles. Pretty sure I got that right. So chain 2, and chain 2. Yep, okay. So we have right now, in essence, 4 groupings of 2 double crochets each, separated by a chain 2, which is 3 chain 2 spaces. All right, so that is the end of row 1, nice and simple. Also, when you get further along, you can always take this little tail end and sew it through this chain a little bit, weave it through those stitches, through there again a bit, weave it through those stitches again, cinch it nice and tight, and you're good. Okay, so that's how you can deal with this little end. All right, so that's the end of row 1. All right, row 2. So for row 2, I'm going to start by turning the work like so. Now into these first 2 double crochets and into this chain 2 space, we're going to slip stitch because we're going to scooch our way to the center right here. So working into that first double crochet with a slip stitch, the second double crochet with a slip stitch, like so, then into the chain 2 space with a slip stitch. And we're going to be doing that at the beginning of every row, all right, just so you know. Now, we need to create another cluster just like we have here. So we're going to chain up 3, another double crochet into the chain 2 space, chain 2, and 2 more double crochets into that first cluster. So basically it's a cluster within a cluster, and that is how we're going to finish and end every row. All right, so now to continue on with row 2, what we do then is let's see. Okay, it's going to be a chaining of 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, and single crochet into this middle, this center chain space, like so. Okay, another chain 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then into this cluster, we need to do, again, a cluster within the cluster. So into that chain 2 space, 2 double crochets, chain 2, and 2 double crochets. Like so. And it's just going to keep fanning out as we go along. All right, so that is the end of row 2. All right, row 3. So for row 3, again, start by turning the work. I didn't chain anything, just turn the work. Slip stitch into that first double crochet, into the second double crochet, another slip stitch, and then a slip stitch into the chain 2 space. Going to do a cluster within the cluster, so that's a chaining up of 3. Another double crochet into the chain 2 space, chain 2, and 2 more double crochets. So we have our cluster within the cluster, and that's going to become hopefully not, monotonous, but it will be repetitious. All right, so now we need to work our way across to the other side. So chain 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 chains, and then a single crochet into the chain 5 space, chain 5 again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, single crochet into the next chain 5 space, then chain 5 again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then we need to do another cluster within the cluster, so into that chain 2 space, 2 double crochets, chain 2, and 2 double crochets. So basically the only real difference for row 3 is we went from 2 of these spaces to 3 of these spaces, okay? But yeah, the edges are always going to remain the same, and what I really love about this pattern is that it's a self-edging piece, which I love. And then the top edging, it's so simple, you're gonna love it. That I'm probably gonna do in part 2 of this tutorial. Alrighty, so that's row 3. All right, row 4. So I'm going to start, of course, by turning the work, slip stitch within the first double crochet, slip into the second double crochet, and slip into the chain 2 space, chain 3, double crochet into the chain 2 space, chain 2, 2 double crochets also into the chain 2 space for our cluster within the cluster. All right. Then, again, we need to scooch our way to sort of a leapfrog across. Chain 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Single crochet into the chain 5 space. Okay, chain 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, single crochet into the next chain 5 space, chain 5 again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, single crochet into the next chain 5 space, and last but not least, we need to chain 5 again so that we can do our cluster within the cluster. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And after we do our chaining of 5 into the chain 2 space, 2 double crochets, then chain 2, and 2 more double crochets, like so. All right. So again, yep, we've got one more chain 5 space. We have now a total of 4 chain 5 spaces, all right? And that is the end of row 4. So now we have a bit of a trellis going on here, which is rather lovely. And so we're just going to keep going from here. Be right back with row 5. Alrighty, row 5. Now this is the last of the rows, the last of the initial rows that is pretty much the same. We're going to turn the work and going to go into that first double with a slip stitch, second double with a slip stitch, like so, then into the chain 2 space with a slip stitch, chain up 3, double crochet into that chain 2 space, chain 2, and 2 more double crochets within that same chain 2 space because we need our cluster within the cluster. And we're going to do the same thing, leapfrogging our way across. Chain 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Single crochet into the chain 5 space. Chain 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Single crochet into the next chain 5 space. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Single crochet into the next chain 5 space. Sorry. There we go. Chain 5 again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. single crochet into the next chain 5 space. There we go. And last but not least, chain 5 again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and cluster within the cluster at the very end in that chain 2 space, 2 double crochets, chain 2, and 2 more double crochets. There we go. And something that Renata had written was, you should see the diamond mesh pattern, yes, and the fun begins when we start adding the straight virus fan into the middle of, the middle chain 5 space. It is sort of reminiscent of the virus. It's also sort of reminiscent of the pineapple, reminiscent of the fan. It's a hybridizing, in my personal opinion. Okay, like I said at the beginning, it's sort of something similar, something different. It has elements of other patterns I've seen, but I personally haven't done this before, so I thought I'm digging it, and I really appreciate the fact that apparently Renato's only been crocheting for about a year, so I give a lot of credit. All right, so that's the end of row 5. Enough of my babbling, I'm sorry. And we'll continue on with, as she said, the fun beginning in row 6. All right, row 6. Okay, so going to start it initially the same. So we're turning the work, slip stitch into the first double crochet, slip stitch into the second double crochet, and slip stitch into the chain 2 space. Nothing new there, but that's okay. Going to chain up 3, 1, 2, 3, double crochet into that chain 2 space, chain 2, and 2 double crochets. So we're doing our cluster within the cluster to begin with. Okay. All right. Now going to chain 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and into this first chain 5 space, single crochet. Okay. Then another chain 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, into the next chain 5 space, single crochet. Now here is where things get a little bit different. Okay, so now into this middle chain 5 space, we're going to do 10 double crochets. And also, do not chain after doing your single crochet here. Don't do any chains. Okay, so immediately from here, going into the chain 5 space, 10 double crochets. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Don't worry, they'll all fit. All right, also, I always like to double check. Now, be aware that right there is our single crochet, and that this right here is our part of our chain 5. Always be aware of that as you're stitching, because it's very easy to mistake this right here as a double crochet. And I think I stressed that point when I did the virus shawl because it has a very similar mechanic to it. So we've got 5 and we have 10. Perfect. Okay, so then continuing right along, we go directly into the next chain 5 space with a single crochet. And again, this looks just like a double, but it's part of our chain. Be aware of that. All right, so then chain 5 again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, into the next chain 5 space, another single crochet, and last but not least, chain 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and finishing off this row by doing a cluster within the cluster. So that's 2 double crochets, chain 2, and 2 double crochets. Ta-da! All right. So your piece should look something like this. So you should have 2 chain 5 spaces on either side of your 10 double crochet arch, fan, whatever it is that you wish to call it exactly, okay? And that is the end of row 6. All right, row 7. Okay, I'm going to start very much the same by starting to turn the work, slip stitch into the first double crochet, slip stitch into the second double crochet, and slip stitch into the chain 2 space, chain up 3, double crochet into the chain 2 space, chain 2, and 2 more double crochets so that we have our cluster within the cluster to begin with. All right. Then moving right along, footloose and fancy free, chain 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, into the first chain 5 space, single crochet, chain 5 again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, into the next chain 5 space, single crochet. Okay, then again, do not chain. We're going to go directly into our 10 double crochets, doing a double crochet into each. So going directly from the single crochet, going into the first double crochet. Now again, be aware not to go into your single crochet, which is right here. Go into your double crochet, which is right here. Otherwise, you are going to mess up your stitch count, and I cannot stress that enough. You know, if you check twice now, you won't have to undo and frog your work later, which is very, very annoying. I speak from experience. So I'm just doing a double crochet into each of these 10 double crochets. Like so. I mean, really, in my opinion and in my experience, this is a very easy pattern to follow, but you need to pay attention. You know, not trying to sound at all harsh, but, you know, in order to avoid mistakes, you do need to pay attention. All right, so then going directly into the next chain 5 space, a single crochet. So now if you stand back, so you can see here is our single crochet, and then we have our double crochets. So that is 2, 4, 6, 8, and 10. And here is, excuse me, here is our chain, okay? And then we have our single crochet. So it's good to be aware of identifying your stitches so that you don't end up making mistakes later. All right, so we did our single. Now we chain 5 again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Single crochet into the next chain 5 space. Chain 5 again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And going to finish off by doing a cluster within the cluster. So that's 2 double crochets, chain 2, and 2 double crochets, all within the chain 2 space of the previous cluster. Alrighty. So basically, it was a matter of following suit from the previous row to make this one, and I don't mean, to, be too laborious over, the stitches, but, around here, it can be very easy to make a mistake. I'm just looking out for you guys because I love you guys. All right, so that's the end of row 7. So we're going to continue right along. Okay. Alrighty, row 8. All right, so again, we start by turning our work, slip stitch into the first double, into the second double, another slip stitch, and into the chain 2 space, another slip stitch, chain up 3, double crochet, chain 2, 2 double crochets, so that we have our cluster within the cluster. Alrighty. So we've got that. Chain 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Single crochet into the chain 5 space. There we go. Chain 5. Okay. Single crochet into the next chain 5 space. Alrighty. Now, okay, here is also where things can get a little interesting. All right, so now what we're going to do is we're going to expand the fan, so to speak. All right, now we're going to do a double crochet, chain 1 into each stitch across. Now, be careful. Do not go into this single crochet stitch here. We need to go into the double. That's why I keep stressing that. So going directly from the single crochet, we're going to do a double crochet into the first double crochet, not the single, into the double. So we're going directly in with a double crochet right there. Chain 1, double crochet into the next double, chain 1, double crochet into the next double, and so forth all the way across. Chain 1, double crochet, chain 1, double crochet, chain 1, double crochet, chain 1, double crochet, chain 1, double crochet. Did I actually chain 1? No, I didn't. See, even I make mistakes. Okay, let me actually get that chain 1. There we go. And then double crochet, chain 1, double crochet, and see, I've got one more left because this right here is our chain. So this right here is the last one. So chain 1, double crochet, and easy way that you can check is, all right, so you see here we have our chain 5. So we have 2, 4, 6, 8, and 10. Okay, so now after doing the 10th double crochet, do not chain 1. Just go directly into the next chain 5 space with a single crochet. Chain 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Single crochet into the next chain 5 space. All right. Chain 5 once again. All right, and then into the last cluster, we need to do, of course, a cluster within the cluster. So that is 2 double crochets, chain 2, and 2 double crochets. Ta-da! And that's the end of row 8. Now, as you can see, we still have on either edge 2 chain 5 spaces here and here. And then in the center, we have our expanding fan, as it were. Okay? So that's the end of row 8, and we're going to continue on with row 9. Alrighty, row 9. So I'm going to start, of course, by turning the work, slip stitch into that first double crochet, slip stitch into the second double crochet, and slip stitch into the chain 2 space, like so. Then, you guessed it, chain up 3, double crochet into that chain 2 space, 2 chains, and 2 double crochets. Okay, chain 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, single crochet into this next chain 5 space, chain 5, single crochet into the next chain 5 space. Okay, now, again, here's where things get a little interesting. All right, we are now going to chain 5 again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we need to go into the second chain 1 space. Now, keep in mind, right here, where we had our single crochet in our first double, there's no chain space, okay? So we're not going into this first one here, we're going into the second one here, okay? Like I said, it's always good to be aware of what your stitches are and where they are, okay? I'm not trying to, to breed paranoia, just caution, okay? So into the second space right here, single crochet, like so, chain 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, skip the next chain 1 space going into the next one. So again, we're sort of leapfrogging over, as you can see. Chain 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, skipping a chain 1 space going into the next one with a chain 1, a single crochet, pardon me, and then we need to do one more. Chain 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, skipping a chain 1 space going into the next, which so happens to be the second chain 1 space. And I'm going to finish that stitch and I will show you what I mean. See here, when we started, we had our single crochet, chain 5, and a single crochet into the second, not the first, but the second of our chain 1 spaces, okay? And then we proceeded to do 1, 2, 3 of our chain 5s, then ending in the second space. Now, again, as you can see, right here, we have our single crochet, and this is our chain 5 arch, and immediately we have our double crochet, chain 1, double crochet, chain 1. So this is the second from this edge, okay? So it's just a way of sort of, identifying where you're at within the pattern. Okay, so now chain 5 again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Going into this chain 5 space, just hopping right over this chain 1 space and this single crochet, going into the chain 5 space with a single crochet, chain 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, into the next chain 5 space with a single crochet, and last but not least, chain 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, and then going into the last chain 2 space with another cluster, cluster above a cluster or cluster within a cluster, however it is you wish to put it. That's 2 double crochets, chain 2, and 2 double crochets, like so. All right, and that is the end of row 9. And we're going to continue right along, as we go, and we're going to have more of these fans as we go. All right, be right back. Alrighty, my dears, so that is the end of our 9th row. And for the next part of this video, I'm going to show you a full repeat so that we will have a shell here and a shell here. Basically, it goes rows 6 through 9 for a full repeat. I wanted to leave off here so I didn't get too crazy. And also, I'm going to show you how you can do that really lovely and simple edging, which actually mirrors this edging here. And so I'm going to go into that into the next part of this video. I really hope that you're enjoying this tutorial by Renata. Well, the pattern by Renata. Really hope that you're enjoying it. If you are, please hit that little thumbs up button down below to show your support, your appreciation, all that fun stuff, which I appreciate oh so very much. And also, I would love to hear your comments. And also, if you haven't hit subscribe, please do so, because I try to post as often as I can, whether it be crocheting, knitting, audiobooks, or on my other channel, video game playthroughs. So, all so much fun, really. Also, hopefully in the near future, I will be able to provide a link, which I will have in the description box down below, for a written version of this pattern. That's in the process, okay? So, until the next video, I want you all to stay inspired, stay stitching, and, of course, stay caffeinated. I love you guys, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.